This is Smooth 98.1. Love music, love life. It is a hump of the week Wednesday morning. And it's that time to take a walk into the papers, take a look at the headlines making the rounds across Nigeria. This is Freshly Pressed, your one-stop shop for all the latest news and information as well. Analysis will also come your way of all the stories and a whole lot more. As always, it is an interactive session, so we look to you to share your thoughts with us, send your messages in your opinions on the issues we'll be discussing this morning. And you can do that by sending those messages to us on WhatsApp on 0809 444 0981. 0809 444 0981. That is the WhatsApp number. We're also streaming live on YouTube. You can find us at Smooth 981 FM Lagos. Smooth 981 FM Lagos. That is on YouTube. You can also drop a comment there, and I will take that as we get along. Keep your messages short, precise, concise as well, straight to the point. Makes it easier to read. And please let us be as civil as we can be. That is a plea from me to you. All right, joining me this morning to take a look at the stories and, of course, give analysis. Lakunle and Devoe. Lakunle is in the studio with me. Devoe will be joining us along the way. Lakunle, good morning to you.
Good morning, Ayo. Good morning, Nigerians. I greet you especially for being so perseverant people.
Very special greeting. That is something that definitely Nigerians need to pat themselves on the back for. And one thing I can say is that to a degree in northern Nigeria, patience probably is running thing. That's something that they don't have in abundance. And we're going to begin talking about a story on that front coming out of the Premium Times, and it has to do with the recent, power outage that has been going on in the north for the past, or some part of the north for the past 7 to 8 days. And let me just dive into the story real quick here, luckily. It says that well-armed terrorists are occupying strategic places around the source of the damaged power transmission cables that have caused blackouts in many northern Nigerian states for over a week. That's according to a senator. And their presence has therefore prevented urgently needed repairs from being executed. And this is Barao Jibrin, Deputy Senate President, speaking here. It's such a worrying thing to hear this sort of information being put out there. I mean, on one hand, the fact that a terrorist, well-armed terrorists are, at the root of this matter. What is even more worrying is the fact that we know that these individuals can attack very sensitive and important installations that are pivotal to the daily workings and development of Nigeria. I mean, if they can attack power installations, what's to say that this cannot escalate to something else?
When I started with greeting Nigerians that our level of perseverance is unrivaled. Um, it was with the sentiments of reading this report that set that off in me this morning, right? Um, Let me digress just a little bit for a moment. So many years ago, as a member of a leadership organization for young people, we visited the ambassador of one of the Asian countries in Nigeria.
Okay.
And the man said to us that if this was my country, if my country was as blessed as your country, Nigeria, is, would fence it around, right? You know
Hmm.
what that means? It would fence it around. That means that the first thing we'll do is would secure our territory 100%, right?
Right.
So, and I look at us Nigerians, but we know the things that we have. We acknowledge the blessing that our land, our waters, the air, everything about us is, including even the people. We could be as resourceful as any other group of people in the world. But here we are. The basic things that we should do, we struggle with it. Now the senator is saying we're acknowledging that the state has no power over terrorists who have appropriated to themselves certain parts of the country. Now, not just sports. This is about 19 states of 36. That's more than 50%. it means that terrorists, I'm quoting it, terrorists have control in significant parts of 19 states of 36. We have the NSCDC, we have the Nigerian police, we have the DSS, we have the Nigerian army, we have the Nigerian Navy, we have the Nigerian Air Force, we have several other paramilitary organizations. What can they do? What should they do? Our police that should be responsible for our internal security is handicapped in many ways. Training, manpower, resources, even accommodation where the men are supposed to live, group life insurance, everything. They are so handicapped. So who is going to bail the cat? We will keep shifting the blame from one person to the other. Just yesterday, it was in news that an erstwhile minister of power was arrested by EFCC on the alleged stealing of $22 million that was supposed to have been counterpart funding for building a dam somewhere in Taraba. So when you put all of this together, so the transmission company of Nigeria will blame terrorists. The government that owns transmission company blame terrorists. We the people we blame terrorists. These terrorists lives among us. Even us who don't even trust the law enforcement agents enough to go and report where we even know who these terrorists are. So when you look at all of this put together, we are asking ourselves, what is the purpose of government that we have? Why do we have a president? Why do we have senators? Why do we have the House of Reps? Why do we have the governors? Why do we have the security agencies? If we will sit down and throw up our arms that it is terrorists that is preventing us from having power in 19 states of the country, there is a lot of problems here to be solved. And I can't sit here to say this is exactly what it is, but I can tell you that the people who have offered, who have climbed the soap box to promise that they will lead us Nigerians, they will do the best possible for us, are not doing, they're not doing anything at all. Not even to say that they're doing enough.
Thank you for sharing those thoughts there. A lot of food for thought as we journey along in Nigeria. Which way are we actually heading? Devoe, welcome along to the show this morning. Great to have you on. Hope you can hear me really clearly because I can see that you are muted on your end. Devoe, if you can hear me, you need to unmute on your end. Thank you.
Can you hear me now?
Yes, we can hear you now. Welcome along, Devoe. We
Okay.
are going to continue on the trajectory of energy. I mean, we've talked about electricity right now. Let's talk about petrol. We can't not talk about petrol at this point in time. And this is going to be a linked sort of story, but let me get through it first of all. Heading into the point. Now, the chairman of the Dangote Group, Aliko Dangote, on Tuesday urged petroleum marketers, including the Nigerian National Petroleum Company Limited, to source petrol directly from his refinery to meet local demand. Now, this came as data obtained from the Nigerian Ports Authority show that the NPA is expecting a vessel with 115,000 liters of premium motor spirit, popularly known as petrol, today at Tinkan Island Port in Lagos. I mean, now Dangote has said that he has enough petrol to meet the demand, that, marketers and all should come and lift from him. Now, this also comes off the back of the newest increase in fuel prices. I mean, in Lagos, NNPC stations in Lagos are selling at 1,025 naira. I saw that myself on my way in this morning. In Abuja, as high as 1,060 naira. And also, spokesperson for the NNPC, that's Olufemi Shonoya, also saying that he's not aware of any fuel price increase, despite the fact that the prices on the pumps have changed. Devoe, what is happening here?
Can you hear me?
Yes, we can.
Okay, cool deregulation. Mm. So this is the world that Nigerians have to get used to. NNPC has wiped their hands off, as they've said, on fuel distribution around the country. And you're going to be hearing a lot of funny statements from them, like, I'm not aware about any fuel increase. I had the same argument with them that there's scarcity in Lagos and Abuja. How are they keeping quiet? And the response I got was, it's not their fault anymore. If marketers prefer to sell in the southeast, the south-south, the northeast, the northwest for 1214, where they can make more profits, because there's more competition in Lagos and Abuja. And Abuja will only sell around highest 1,000. So literally, what they're trying to say is that it is the marketers that are, in quotes, either hoarding or deciding not to sell and sell in other areas. Hence, the continuous bringing in of vessels that go to other locations. With the price at 1,000, you won't hear so much of the smuggling that takes place across the border. However, what is important is the regulator, the Nigerian upstream downstream regulatory agency, needs to do their job. They need to be the ones to ensure that distribution is even among every city in Nigeria. So people should stop calling the name of NNPC and start calling Farouk. Farouk is the CEO of the Nigerian Upstream Downstream Regulatory Agency. They need to do their job. It's their job to ensure that quality fuel is distributed around Nigeria. As regards Dangote, Dangote is another private. Don't bother yourself about Dangote. Between Dangote and NNPC, they will sort themselves out. But what we need is a regulator to wake up. Now, Tinubu came out last week and said something that many people felt was harsh. He said, you either buy fuel at 1,000 naira or you manage CNG at 200. The question is, Mr. President, where is the CNG? 1 million free kits is not enough to address over 50 million cars, trucks, and buses in Nigeria. So what I expect is the presidency, the 7 trillion naira savings that they would now get from not spending it on subsidy, they need to use a fraction of that and spend on at least minimum 20 million free CNG conversion kits for commercial buses nationwide. That's as a start. Whilst they're doing that, accelerate the CNG petrol points around the nation. Because even in Abuja here, you will see trucks lined up for over 1 hour's drive waiting for CNG. So the way he said it, it makes it sound like it's readily available. It's not available. So, Mr. President, you need to be careful because Nigerians are already angry on top of being hungry.
That's not a good combo at all. I mean, talking about the CNG kits as well, there's also the issue of them being installed properly and appropriately. I mean, we've heard some recent reports of faulty installations leading to explosions in certain places. So that also needs to be addressed.
Yes, what happened from the presidential CNG initiative? The explosion that took place in Benin was someone who attempted to construct their own canister, okay? And obviously, it wasn't done properly, hence the explosion. So that's part of the challenge they face. They need to ensure that they communicate all the authentic and verified locations and stations that you can get original and safe CNG equipment.
All right.
But for now, CNG is just in a few locations. It's not something that's readily available. Remember, one conversion kit is 1 million naira. How many people can afford that?
These are the questions. Thank you for sharing those thoughts, Devoe. Let's take a quick breather. When we come back in, we'll take a look at more stories and, of course, take your comments and opinions on Freshly Pressed. This is Smooth 98.1. Don't go anywhere.
It's so smooth right here. Taking your business into the future would require divergent skill thinking. That's why you need a partner that can passion the next step to you and your customers. With First Online, First Bank's online financial platform, you enjoy
talking as safe.
Okay.
And the problem started since and all that. Okay, you are there now. What are you doing to deal with the problem? I mean, for how long will you continue to blame? Oh, it didn't start now, started then. You knew it started then. You knew that before you got into office. So what are you doing to solve the problem?
love music, love life.
I think you're doing that whole trying to blame game. Okay, you're talking about this now. Okay, what does it help? Welcome back to Freshly Pressed on Smooth 98.1. Love music, love life on a hump of the week, Wednesday morning. You're tuned in to your smooth station. Ayokunmi here. And of course, Lakunle and Devoe are in with me to analyze the stories and give perspective as well as their positions, should I say, on the matters that are arising. Share your thoughts with us as well on WhatsApp on 0809 444 0981. 0809 4440981. That is the WhatsApp number. Also, you can join us on YouTube or streaming live at Smooth 981 FM Lagos. Let me just sneak in a few of the comments before we get back into the stories. Rexy from Surrey says, when we discuss the security matters, we discuss as if the issue started yesterday. No, it didn't. It's not because of the president or the security operatives in office today. It is because the North have disdained education for too long to cede the rural population to insurgents and bandits. Let's talk about the root cause as well.
Can I respond to this? Okay, so yes, the matter didn't start yesterday, didn't start even 2 days ago, or last year, or last whatever. But the point of this matter is that we knew there was a problem. Somebody climbed the soapbox and said, all this problem, I will solve it. And Mr. President of today told us that we should not pity him, that he begged for the job. So we should hold him responsible to his words. I will solve the problem. Don't pity me. I begged for the job. Don't let us forget he said those words. So we should ask him, Mr. President, you said you will do this. How far? And then we need to stop to blame education on everything on education. What does education really mean? Is it in our minds that anybody that goes to school is the only person that's educated? When with our education, okay, so education is in the north. What do you call the one that is happening in the southeast that they don't go out on Mondays? I think we need to be circumspect about while we defend governments or people that we like. We should not lose sight of the crux of the matter. The crux of the matter here is that 90 states of the country are in darkness because terrorists have taken over large swaths of the land.
All right, let me take one or two messages and we get back into the conversation. Dakwa from Randall says, so much poverty and depravity in the north, despite a rich environment of plenty, all this banditry and terrorism going on. There's just a smoke screen to cover up for illegal mining. That has been said as well. Kingsley says, I will tell you why to answer your question. The elected officials are there only to tell you what the problem is, not to give the solutions. And he further says, will you tell me as a businessman where best to sell my product? If I get more profits in a particular location, won't I drive my business to that area? All right. Thank you for sharing your thoughts. Keep them coming on WhatsApp. All right, let's get back into the stories. Let's head back into the Daily Post or head into the Daily Post. There was mild drama in the House of Representatives on Monday as Minister of Blue and Marine Economy, Oyetola, claimed that the multi-billion-dollar cargo tracking agreement entered into by the federal government regarding the International Cargo Tracking Notes, ICTN, was faulty. Now, the minister made this claim while facing questioning by a House investigative panel looking into the delay in implementing the cargo tracking project, which experts say is costing the country $500 million monthly. I mean, where is this disconnect coming from?
Okay, so quickly, scanning through the reports earlier on, one of the first things I went to check was exactly when was this Antasa group signed on in this contract. It was done in March 2023. So let's say in the twilight of the last government. So it don't suggest to me, when did this director, Babatunde Sule, assume duty? Was he in the ministry or was he in the department that was responsible for this as at that March? Who were the people who looked through that contract then? Who are the people who look through it now that they are now finding the faults now? Okay, having said that, just like 2 or 3 months ago, there was a matter of Ogun State and some China people,
Chinese
company
companies.
that
Yeah.
went to a court in Belgium or somewhere, or is it Canada?
I think it was France.
Okay, it was
It was
France.
a French court.
And they were seizing Nigerian assets all over the place. This is a potential repeat of that scenario. So you have a contract with someone and you are seeking to cancel it, albeit however you want to go and do it. And then that organization then goes to court somewhere and they start chasing you all about. And we say we want to have attract foreign direct investments into Nigeria, and things like this happen all the time. A government signs a contract with a foreign businessman or country, the succeeding government comes and cancels it. The next person who sees it would definitely want to come here. We are at the height, or okay, now we are on the other side of it, that all the IOCs are divesting from our oil resources, particularly the ones that are on land, right? They are focusing on the offshore ones. The reasons are very clear why they are doing it. So it is the same thing here, that we should learn to respect contracts. Okay, so even if we find a fault in the contract, why don't we invite the organization to the table and say, look, because of this, because of this circumstance, that circumstance, can we find a way to disagree to agree on this point and agree to disagree on this point, so that this business can go on, so that we can end this, so that you can end that, so that this number of people can be employed, so that it can help the economy this way, so that it can help your business that way. Why do we think that canceling, just like a popular musician said, that in government in Nigeria, why is it that it's everything that's got to do with burn, destroy, demolish, that sweet people in government of all things that we do? He said it in pidgin English in music, so it's not sweet saying it in English like this.
I get that.
But you see it every day with the way people in government act and not respecting contracts, especially the ones that are entered by its previous government. It is bad for our economy. It is bad for the perception of the country. It is bad for the people who do this as individuals themselves.
Most definitely. And it's also worrying. I mean, if we're having these sort of issues where there's an issue with the contract, I mean, entering into a contract is a big deal. It's not just something that is glossed over. There's a whole lot that goes into it. Those who know are supposed to, go over these things with a fine-tooth comb to make sure that every single,
what was the role of the
clause,
Attorney General of the Federation in 2023? What is his role today? There are so many questions to ask on these things, and I can tell you this is not going to be the last one.
Unfortunately, that's just the way things tend to work out here in Nigeria. All right, Devoe, I'm going back to you, and we're heading into the Daily Trust. Now, this story and one of the other stories are kind of linked in a way. And it says the governor of Nasarawa State, Abdullahi Sule, has said that the 19 governors under the Northern Governors Forum, the NGF, are against the VAT bill because it will be unfair to the region. Now, arising from a meeting on Saturday, the NGF, chaired by Governor Inuwa Yahya of Gombe State, have rejected the derivation-based model for the value-added tax distribution in the new tax bill currently in the National Assembly for deliberation. Now, what they're basically saying is that if this actually goes through, it'll be unfair to the region, because it'll be a case of you only get as much, more or less get as much as what you're able to actually produce or actually put out there in terms of your internally generated revenue. But can you speak more to this, Devoe, and give some more clarity on it?
Okay. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can.
Okay, there's not much time, but the day we decide to address all the inequities in Nigeria, we will fight. So there's a fight brewing with the tax reform that is currently within the National Assembly.
Are you there, Devoe? Looks like the
VAT is a
okay, he's back.
Okay, VAT is a portion of tax that you give governments once and I.
Can I just
yes, please.
So while he's off. So I think it was Honorable Minister Nyesom Wike as governor. I went to court on this VAT matter.
Right.
A few years ago, I said that VAT should be a state, should be a tax enabled by states. So a lot of people disagree with him there. To some extent, I agreed with him somehow that, okay, so why should I pay VAT for a service I consumed in Lagos, but somebody takes it to Abuja to go and share the VAT I paid in Lagos to some states, to Taraba State to take a share of
Can
the
you hear
VAT.
me now?
Devoe,
Can you
you
hear
may
me?
go on.
Yes. So basically, from what Lakunle was saying, even though I see less simply because they're not producing anything. Oh, like I said, this inequity will be dealt with. That is why the northern governors are against it. But I don't want the governors to be talking. They're not the lawmakers. I want to hear the people in the National Assembly debate this matter. Let us hear where their logic is coming from. Because at some point, as a federation, we have to start operating like we did in the 1970s, whereby regions contributed to the center. So if you have cocoa, go to work. If you have palm oil, go and farm. If you have granite pyramids, rice, whatever's what you need to be able to get the money that you require. Not that one section of the country produces something and then every other person begins to share from it. So I want this matter to be debated in the House of Assembly. Those who have not, okay, look at the worst case. In the north, they don't allow you to drink alcohol, right? Because of Sharia law. Yet, the people who drink alcohol, the VAT is shared to the people in the north. Is that fair? So let's wait and see what happens from the National Assembly.
Let me quickly grind my thoughts on this matter too. So, like you just mentioned, would like to see the court case of River State on this matter adjudicated. Would like to see closure to it. Let's see what the court interprets the current laws to be. Let's see what the National Assembly are going to say about this. The Governors Forum, the Northern Governors Forum, is a pressure group, is a lobby group. They're already starting their lobbying, right? Let them go and lobby the National Assembly. Their words about it is not final. It's a lobby. So let's wait for the National Assembly. Let's wait for the court. The case is still in court. It's not being closed. I think Lagos State also joined as an interested party. I think I can't remember clearly, but let's wait and see what happens.
Let's wait and see what happens. And just before we round up and take some messages, I mean, looking at the way a lot of states in Nigeria are set up in terms of productivity and not, should I say, producing enough, generating enough. I would also round up with this thought if I take messages that a report done by a civic tech organization, Budget, revealed that 32 out of Nigeria's 36 states relied on allocations from the Federation Accounts Allocation Committee for at least 55% of their total revenue in 2023. Make of that information what
the governor of Zamfara State drives a BMW 2023 model 7 Series.
Zamfara State that
yes.
Their citizens cannot sleep. Let alone sleep one eye. They can't sleep.
Yeah. So,
Nigeria, we hail thee. Let's take messages as we round up this morning. Papi says, good morning, Devoe and team. These fuel prices are now monthly. I hear you on that one. Ajayi Oloniluwa says, with the latest increase in the price of petrol, it's now clear that government has been deceiving Nigerians that local refining of petrol will end importation and bring down prices. And with the continuous devaluation of the naira at the foreign exchange market, government has declared economic war on the helpless masses. Sad state of affairs. Bimbo says, sanctity of the contract is not in our nature, not only in government, but in our everyday life. Your friend, neighbor, or family members do not want to be held accountable to agreements. For government, the main reason often they cancel contracts is not so much about terms of the contract, but because of their interests. Another administration has agreed the contract and gotten the juice of it, and the new government is to implement, and that is why they cancel. Ayo from Festac says, I thought there was a court ruling by Wike when he was governor that VAT generated by states should be spent by the respective states that generated it. So what concerns northern states with southern VAT? That's what you're referring to.
Not sure it's being closed. I'm not
Definitely. Michael says, how do you expect farmers and below lower minimum wage earners to afford CNG? At the current rate of conversion, it is not for the common man. You should expect more explosions because the average Nigerian will find a way to make ends meet. I also hope the CNG sites have proper safety and fire safety kits. I want to believe they do. And I really hope that Nigerians do not take matters into their own hands because the consequences are very, very deadly at the end of the day. Yemi from Marina says, it's sad that rather than see the challenge in developing each of the states, our lazy governors have seen it as a threat to the free monies they are accustomed to the system. It's a way to spur development, competitive development, and increase GDP, increase revenue. God bless Nigeria. All right, we need to call it on the show this morning. Thank you for all the messages. I appreciate you always coming through to do that. Also appreciate you, Lakunle and Devoe, for taking the time out to be with us on Freshly Pressed.
Thank you for having me again this morning.
All
right. Devoe,
Ciao.
we'll join you in your jungle one of these days.
Inshallah.
All right, thank you so much. All right, Lagos, keep it tuned to Smooth 98.1. The locker room comes up at 8:15. It's all about sports. Tega will be in for that one. Don't go anywhere.
Pressed on Smooth